Bismillah Rahman Rahim Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam Assalamu Alaikum wa Rahmatullahi wa Barakatuh. I was born in Lahore, but few years of early childhood was also spent in Sialkot. I remember that with my parents and with my elder brother, I used to visit ice cream parlor, eat more, almost on every weekend. The reason of visiting that ice cream parlor was that was the only ice cream parlor was available in that area, not just on that area, in the whole city. In 1978, we moved to Lahore. Lahore of that time was also having very limited choices for the restaurants. There was hardly two or three Chinese restaurants in Gulberg. One was available in Fortress, and one or two coffee and tea shops were available at the Mall Road. Then 90s onwards, brands like McDonald's, KFC, and Pizza Hut came in, and these brands came up with the idea of hygienic food and better ambience for the restaurants. I remember that same history is available for another industry, and that is about banking. In my childhood and in teenage, there were hardly three or four banks available of local brands. Almost all of them, I don't know why, but almost all were having brown color tables, furniture, very slow paced staff, no concept of customer service. So much so that whether you are visiting your bank for cash withdrawal or the deposit, minimum time required was at least an hour. Then in 1993 or 94, Citibank started its consumer banking operation on the larger scale, and given the idea of better customer service, smiling face staff, trained staff means trained staff, good looking branches, a modern furniture, and overall happy feeling while you are visiting any branch of Citibank. So much so that with the passage of time, same ideas were picked by the Pakistani banks, and eventually Pakistani banks were also started to have better look of their branch furniture, ambience, and other things, and they started to develop their staff through trainings and customer services and focus on the customer services, etc. But today, why I'm talking about these two industries and trying to compare, that there was a happening a few years back, that these two industries behave very differently during that happening, and that happening was the COVID or the pandemic. We can remember that as soon the COVID hit us, almost all kinds of business stopped, and especially the restaurant hotels were also one of the major businesses which got the hit. But one fine day, I don't know who and how, somebody came up with the idea of home delivery of the food, and suddenly the whole scenario changed. So much so, the hotel and the restaurant businesses even got the customers who were not earlier their regular customers, or even probably they have never visited them, but due to a choice of the availability of the food at the their stops, they ordered their food day and night. And so the food business, especially these hotels and restaurants and these riders, the food providers, earned millions and millions of rupees. So for them, pandemic became a blessing for them. Whereas on the other side, I don't see that this calamity or this problem was used as any kind of opportunity by the banking industry. Even that we are living in the digital era where the architecture of choice has changed. Now, architecture of choice is based on the novelty of the idea, speed of the availability of the thing, and the availability of the things on your rack. But I don't see that during this time any bank have came up with any new idea which can boost their businesses. It's not the case that we may wait for another calamity or another problem, so that we in those years, on those days, we start to think that how to build up a novel idea which can increase the choice of the people, and the number of new customers came in for the banking. For this, we have to do some pre-work. For this, I like to suggest my fellow banking industry that to start with, they must be focusing on the staff of the bank. I understand that the most of the banks don't consider their staff members as the real feedback channels. On actual, the staff is the force which on the regular basis interact with the customers existing and would be, and can have the better idea that which kind of products can run and serve the banks in terms of better revenues. Secondly, there must be a idea gala for every bank, in each bank. By idea gala, I mean there must be 2 or 3 or quarterly based idea competition in the bank among the staff, in which they must participate to suggest the senior management of the bank or the management of the bank that how we can have a kind of product which can attract more people on the basis of their required choices, and which can also support their business revenue demands of that particular businesses. So by influencing the staff, and by pushing the staff to think in this line, I think that in this digital era we can build a better architecture of the choices of the public in the favor of the bank, and we can build a better revenue streams for us. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.